Oh, goody.
Alright, what's up everybody? It is Zombies here again, and today we have another round of tournament games in Mercenaries. So this is actually from round 4 of the Coin Concede Opener series that Coin Concede podcast is doing. Been having a lot of fun doing this each week. We actually have our very own Tankster from the Fighting Pit is currently undefeated, as well as Mana, another member taking part of this, is undefeated. So they're going to be doing their kind of undefeated cage match later this week or weekend, I think, on his channel. So definitely check that out over on Twitch. I'll have that linked in the description. But these games were really fun. For this week, I thought I would bring my kind of trusty Valera, Cornelius, and Illidan composition, as it had been doing pretty well for me on ladder with that nature back end. So I figured I'd bring it to the tournament and see how it would go. Now these are open deckless tournaments, so once the deck has been submitted, both players do have all information on what their opponent is bringing, as well as any sideboard cards they plan to tech in as well between games. And how this works, if you aren't aware, is we both have a starting roster of 6, and game 1 we have to play with our starting 6. Then after that, we are allowed to switch in mercenaries from a 3 mercenary sideboard. So I'm actually was pretty surprised to see Nature Samuro. That's kind of funny because Nature Samuro definitely used to be the top dog, and now it feels like that has changed a little bit. So I went for damage on both the Malf and the Samuro here. In hindsight, it might have been better to target the Malf, but I was more worried about the damage output from the Samuro because, as you can see, it is scaling. But we shouldn't have too much of a problem dealing with that in a turn or two here. Now we have our Valera online, so we are getting those fast speeds, which are pretty busted. And Cornelius is doing his job here. He enabled our combo on turn 1, and now he's just going to do some healing and be a glorified meat shield for our big beaters in Illidan and Valera. Definitely think Cornelius has done really well since the buff to him. So here's some rethinking my move here. What was I thinking about? I think I was rethinking if I wanted to target the Malfurion or the Samuro. I was probably actually counting. That might have been figuring out we can actually kill him. Yep, so we can kill Samuro before he can get an attack off. That's definitely a move you want to make in Mercenaries if you can, for sure. Denying your opponent a move is probably one of the strongest things in the game you can do. So definitely do that when able. And our Cornelius really has enabled just so much protection this game in terms of keeping our heavy hitters alive. Now we have an Illidan at 33 attack, 75 health, and he can just start wreaking absolute havoc against this double caster board our opponent has. And we have 0 speed on our Cornelius, so we can even get some more healing in before our Cornelius finally dies. It's he really did a lot this game. And I think just the versatility in being both a good healer and being able to protect your valuable units is really strong. Here we see get a 1-hit KO on the cookie. Just absolutely insane. We saw a little bit of that in the team comp I did with Illidan. He's just a really, really nutty unit once you start scaling him, and if your opponent doesn't really have a good answer. Like, normally Malf would be a good answer, but he can't even root us because we're just too fast to be rooted. Fastest his root can be is like 1 speed most of the time. I think that's with Valera and nature buffs, but I could be wrong about that. But it's pretty interesting. So he sends in Karen, so backline's probably Karen Diablo, I would imagine, because he had the cookie before. But yeah, that sounds about right. I think that lines up with what I remember. And so we have our nature backline here, and nature backline is going to do a lot actually, because Brukan versus double red is pretty good, as it turns out. And now our Illidan can literally, like, look at this. Tell me this isn't disgusting. You can just Illidan, I can 0 speed kill with Illidan before you can taunt up, before you can do anything. It's just 0 speed, you're done. I think I'm figuring out here. I'm gonna need to reorder this for Valera, or no, I'm not, because I want her to attack the lowest health, which will be Malf. So I guess I went for the full just AoE damage here, which kind of makes sense, because it's still really fast. It's just nuts how. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I get a double kill here. Yeah, Malfurion and. Oh no, the Brukan stays alive. But that's not even bad though, because then I can just get the cookie health increase. So not even bad. And again, that's at 0 speed, so really easy to just take care of him. Diablo's gonna get some health too, but we're really not that scared about Diablo. I mean, yes, he is a green, but he is really more threatening with Karen and another attacker on the board. And 2v3 is definitely an uphill battle in Mercenaries, especially when we're going to have Malfurion coming out here, turning all our nature abilities into heals, which Karen and Diablo just, I don't think they can do enough on their own to really stop the healing we have off the back end, which is why this nature composition has felt so strong. Yeah, so we get our boom, very nice. Yeah, Valir is just an absolute menace. Get that into cookie range so we can get the snipe again and then deny our opponent a turn on their Karen, and then just wrap things up, getting some chain lightning off while we still can. It's just nuts. Our Valyria was able to survive so much longer than it normally would have because of Cookie. So between the extra health him giving everybody at the start of the game and the extra health from his death blows, Cookie's just an insane unit, and they helped us get that nice and easy 1-0. However, this is best of 3, so we do have a sideboard to work with. So the fun thing about this, if you've seen my team comp video from earlier this week, I actually have a Frost Lich King sideboard. So it's Jaina, Varden, and Lich King. And Tankster actually was the one who gave me that suggestion. I was trying to look for a good way to cover up my weakness to I was kind of expecting some Mam running around in the tournament, because Valyria has been very popular, and that was kind of one of the first counters that rose up. And I was correct, as my opponent did have a Mam board swap in. So I did think about this, and I figured, well, if they brought it, they're probably going to switch it in off that first loss, because they don't feel like their comp can beat Valyria because they just lost to it, so they have to switch it up. So instead of leaving Valyria, we're actually going to switch our comp up entirely. And you see I'm switching it up here. I'm getting my Frost comp. Now I wasn't sure, as you can see I take out Illidan here. I wasn't sure initially what my back lineup was going to be. Whether I wanted to have Nature or I wanted to have Valyria and Illidan in the back. But eventually I do choose Valyria and Illidan, and I do think that ended up being the right choice, because they ended up being just as crazy powerful off the bench as they were as starting units, which is pretty awesome to see. And the Lich King just does absolute work, as we saw in my prior comp video trying this out on the ladder. It's just, Frost starts are really nutty right now, and it's kind of crazy that even in a meta that is so kind of dominated by fighters, we still see some very powerful caster strategies, like the Frost one here. And there are a million different Frost strategies where it's Varden, Jaina, X, whether that's Lich King or Valera or Illidan, or there are a lot of different or Eudora. Like there's so many different variations, and then just having a solid bench like CDC or having Nature now, I guess, is another possible one. Or as we can see here, my bench, Valera, Illidan, and Cookie, actually proved to be a very powerful bench because we've seen so many other nature benches running around. Having your fighters in the late game as opposed to the early game has actually been very beneficial for me recently. So I think they were thinking about, do they swap in the tech or do they kind of do the double mind games and not swap anything? Like we've all been there. It's actually interesting. They have a triple caster, triple protector squad here. So our choice about bringing the fighters was definitely right, in my opinion. And I did do this lead expecting Mayhem, and Mayhem is what we are going to run into, which was great because Mayhem doesn't really have a good clock on kind of dealing with this kind of frost start. Normally, I think their idea is having that double protector lead. You're going to be able to mess up Valera more. The token from Mukla also messes her up a bit. Kind of prevents her from getting her big damage off early on. So yeah, I figured this would be a solid counter to that because they don't have any fighters. I mean they don't have any fighters on their whole team, so not even just on their front line. So it's going to be really, really difficult for them to deal with Jaina and Varden. And as we're going to see here, when you can't deal with a Jaina, she just ends up snowballing out of control and dealing an absurd amount of damage. Like, yeah, Mukla gets in a nice 15 hit there, and the Anduin's going to start scaling, but we are going to get our slow off a lot. I actually might heal here. I'm not sure. I think I go for the slow. The slow is really the Lich King's greatest asset, and it's just really huge. That's actually why I ended up liking him so much on ladder. So we do end up going for the slow on the Malfurion, it looks like. I think that's the right move. You just need to target the Malf, get his healing slowed down. We don't have enough critical damage because we don't have any fighters out right now either to deal with that Anduin. So we kind of just gotta leave it alone and try to deal with the Malf. He does root us, but one fun fact about getting rooted as the Lich King is you do actually still get off your Frostmourne slow, even if you don't do the physical attack. So that's one kind of cool thing to note. Or at least that's how it used to work. I'm pretty sure it still works that way. Now here, I think I was trying to calculate if we could get a death blow, because now his units are so much slower. If we can death blow him, which, yeah, it looks like we can here. Anytime you can steal actions in a game of Mercenaries is pretty brutal. I wonder what I'd do with the Lich King. If I just traded him off or if I went for the healing. I think I went for healing, yeah. Because if we get the whole turn pretty much for free, no reason not to. And the Anduin's just really not much of a threat. Like, yeah, it's killing our Lich King, but our Lich King has done his job. You get the essential slow off in the beginning. Anything else is just kind of gravy at this point. So I think they do get 2 abilities off. No, the taunt was that turn too. So it didn't actually end up mattering, but we did get a little bit more damage off, so that's something. So here comes Cookie. Cookie's going to get the snipe for him, and there's nothing we can really do about that. But again, with our back lineup, I'm really not that worried. Like, Anduin Cookie doesn't really present a scary threat against Illidan and Valera. So I'm not overly concerned about what our opponent's doing here. I was thinking out my plays though, because it is a tournament, and even though we're just kind of doing this for fun, I definitely want to try and play my best, because I definitely did not play my best last week which is partly why there wasn't a video for it last week, because I got trounced. I think I lost 1-2. Good games, but I just didn't prepare adequately. I didn't play a lot on ladder leading up to it, and my games definitely reflected that. But this week, I definitely I played a lot more, and I really kind of tested this lineup a bit, and I think that testing definitely paid off. So even though our Jaina is low here, like, look how much damage we're getting off. Like, we're still chilling at 40. They don't have a great way of bursting us. No fighters they can bring in off the bench. Pretty sure it's just it's just Illidan time, because now Illidan can start getting some absolutely wacky scaling going. And they probably have to focus the Jaina. I mean, they're gonna want to focus the Illidan to protect their stuff. But oh man, and yeah, that's right, I forgot they sent in a Brucon. So literally triple caster against Illidan that's dangerous. That is very dangerous. And I go for the look at that, 18 damage. That's almost 20 damage to each enemy merc, and they're slowed. That's just ridiculous. So that's kind of why, if you ever wondered why people always target Jaina, that is why people target Jaina. So I actually go for the freeze here on the Anduin to kind of prevent him getting the Holy Nova, to scale up some more and heal his units, because I want to be able to kill Brucon next turn. So I actually go for the bleed on the Cookie, which is decent play. I understand why they're going for the healing, and we also don't have any healing of our own right now, so it's pretty smart on their part. But now we have Illidan, who's able to get off his AoE and deal over 40 damage, almost 50 damage, 46 to be exact, to 3 different units. So that's going to be enough to kill Brucon, kind of maim Cookie, and take a nice little dent into the really big Anduin here. They finally crack our Jaina, but by this point, Jaina has more than done her job. She's dealing almost 30 damage a hit now, non-crit. It's pretty ridiculous, so she's definitely done more than she needed to do. They bring out their Karen here as the kind of their last back line. Probably would have done a little bit better with keeping the Diablo in, but it is hard to figure out what to cut sometimes when you want to bring in tech from a sideboard. So I definitely empathize with that. We're going to wrap this game up really shortly here. Illidan's just going to kind of carry us home really easily because he just scaled so hard. And then we have our Valera and Cookie chilling on the bench to kind of help finish it out as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I really do like putting up these little tournament videos because I like showing a different way to play Mercenaries, all that kind of fun stuff. And don't forget, we are having our Fighting Pit podcast Pauper Open this weekend. More details for the sign up for that will be in the description. But yeah, we're going to clean it up right here. I think our opponent's going to concede in a minute because they know the writing's on the wall. Karen can't do it alone. And yeah, GG's to my opponent. Really fun doing this open. If you enjoyed watching it, do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does go a long way towards helping out the channel, and I really do appreciate it. But yeah, hopefully we'll see another one of these games next week, because I think we're wrapping up the Open series. I think there's only 1 or 2 more rounds left until like the finals or the top however many are decided. I have to double check. But yeah, GG's, and I'll see everyone next time. Peace.